In the lore of the Bermuda Triangle, accounts often sound like science fiction. Take the story of pilot Bruce Jernan. He claimed that on a routine flight, a 40,000-foot storm rapidly materialized and swallowed him whole. Jernan reported navigating through a tunnel of what he called electronic fog, vanishing from radar and emerging over Miami 30 minutes earlier than his aircraft was physically capable of reaching it. Stories of time warps and extraterrestrial activity are often used to fill the silence left behind by a specific historical tragedy. The myth began on December 5, 1945. 5 Navy torpedo bombers and their 14 crewmen flew off the coast of Florida on a training exercise and never returned. To understand the mechanics of the Bermuda Triangle, we must set aside the paranormal and examine the environmental and human factors of Flight 19. The day's assignment was called Navigation Problem Number 1. It was a routine exercise departing from Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale, requiring the flight to fly a 3-leg triangular route over the Atlantic, out toward the Bahamas and back to base. While the student pilots were still in training, the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, was a combat pilot with 2,500 flying hours. The exercise proceeded as planned until Taylor reported that both of his magnetic compasses had failed. The crew was already flying without clocks, which were required for dead reckoning. Without instruments to track time or direction, Taylor was forced to navigate by identifying landmarks on the water below. This loss of objective data left the crew reliant on human perception in an environment where the ocean and sky can quickly become indistinguishable. Looking down at a string of small islands to establish his position, Taylor experienced the effects of spatial disorientation. Taylor identified the landmasses below as the Florida Keys. This led him to believe he had accidentally crossed the Florida Peninsula and was now lost over the Gulf of Mexico. Flight 19 was actually over the Abaco Islands, exactly en route. From the air, the Abacos and Florida Keys are visually similar. Based on this error, Taylor ordered the squadron to fly northeast and then west, taking the 5 bombers further out to sea. As the sun set and the weather worsened, radio contact became intermittent. The planes continued on these headings until they exhausted their fuel reserves. Taylor acted on a geographical certainty that directly contradicted his instruments. By the time the flight turned west, they had likely already overflown their fuel endurance, leaving no margin for error in the open Atlantic. A second tragedy occurred later that evening. A Martin PBM Mariner flying boat dispatched to search for Flight 19 vanished shortly after takeoff. Naval records identify a specific mechanical hazard for the Mariner. It was built with flexible fuel lines prone to leaking volatile vapors into the cabin. A merchant ship in the area reported witnessing a mid-air explosion at the exact time the search plane was operating. The Gulf Stream's velocity and the extreme depth of the Atlantic floor ensure that light debris is carried miles away, while heavy wreckage is buried before rescue teams can reach a crash site. The absence of wreckage is a result of these environmental factors, as the currents and depth of the region typically prevent the recovery of physical evidence. Without physical evidence to confirm a pilot error, Lieutenant Taylor's mother successfully petitioned the Navy to change the official cause of the crash to unknown. This unknown status allowed the event to be linked to other historical mysteries, such as Christopher Columbus's 15th-century reports of compass interference in the same region. This data visualization shows the thousands of commercial flights and shipping vessels that cross this region daily without incident. Because the statistical risk is no higher than in any other high-traffic ocean, insurance companies do not charge higher premiums for traveling through the Bermuda Triangle. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle is built on the intersection of human error and environmental hostility. It persists because a magical explanation is often more comforting than the reality of a routine flight ending in a simple, irreversible mistake.